All right, welcome back to the channel of Pro Enzo Vidz, and this is the Ankle Breaker Podcast, episode 7. And joining me this afternoon is a special guest in Sam Revill, another rugby league YouTuber. So, Sam, how are you going this afternoon, mate? And thanks for joining the Ankle Breaker Podcast.
Thank you kindly for having me on the Ankle Breaker Podcast. I made me debut off the bench last week, and now I'm on the run-on side this week. Thank you. How are you going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, again, lockdown, but, at least the cases have gone down today of COVID in Sydney. So I guess that's a good thing, and hopefully, keeps going down. So there's a chance we can get back to normal and doing, a couple of things we like to do. So, it was a decent day for me. But obviously, of course, before I start, make sure you do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to Sam Revill's channel. I mean, his YouTube channel will be linked in the description down below after the podcast ends. So make sure you go and check him out. But as we start now, this is our finals week to Team of the Week. So basically, every time we start the podcast, we go through our Team of the Week for week of footy. So I'll ask Sam first. So Sam, mate, what's your semi-finals week 2 pretty much Team of the Week?
Yeah, no worries. My captain for the team is Isaiah Yeo. He's my lock for this weekend. I might be needing just pip Jake Trbojevic. And so now I'll just go from 1 down to 17. And speaking of Trbojevic, Turbo's my fullback. That's without question. And my wing combination is Jason Saab and Blake Ferguson. I chose Blake Ferguson just because he was everywhere. He was in everything. He can do something good for you and something bad for you, all in that one play. My centres is Paul Momirovski and Morgan Harper. Morgan Harper, as you expertly pointed out in your review of the game the other night, Pro Enzo, that he bounced back and had a really good game against Easts. And Paul Momirovski, I thought for Penrith was just unorthodox and was really hard to handle the other night. My halves combination is Kieran Foran and Nathan Cleary. My props is Regan Campbell-Gillard and Sean Kepi. Kepi had the game of his friggin' life the other night.
Yeah, he did.
Absolutely. And my hooker is Api Coruscant, and my second row combination, a bit controversial, but I'll get to it. Kirk Capewell and Isaiah Papali'i. Those are my second row combinations. And as aforementioned, the lock is Isaiah Yeo. Coming off the bench, Dylan Walker, who has been in wonderful form, Taniela Paseka, Bryce Cartwright, and Olakawatu, all coming off the bench. I probably would swap out Olakawatu for probably Capewell. But yeah, that's my team of the week.
Yeah, all right. No, that's a good side, actually. I think that's, I think most of your team you named right there is very similar to mine. I think my team compared to yours is very similar, actually, in terms of what players you had in there. But yeah, getting to my team now. So at fullback, Tommy Turbo. I think Tommy Turbo was absolutely fantastic on Friday night. On the wing, I've got Jason Saab as one winger, and the other one being Brent Naden on the other wing. I thought Brent Naden did a decent job replacing Brian Toto on the wing, so I'll pick him. In the centres, I've got Will Pinasini and Morgan Harper. I thought Pinasini gave it a real go against Penrith and made some good tackles. And Harper bounced back from last week's terrible performance as well, so that was good to see. The halves are Kieran Foran and Daly Cherry Evans. I mean, both of them were exceptional on Friday night. Both of them were, both led by example, were both, I think, some of the best players on Friday night, so that was good to see. My props, I've got Regan Campbell-Gillard and Marty Tapau. So I thought Campbell-Gillard in a losing team was, fairly decent. I thought he gave it a real go. And my other prop is Marty Tapau, obviously, because in his 200th game, I thought he played very well. I think he ran for over 200 meters, I think. So that's a very good performance by Marty there. Hooker, Api Coruscant, and my back row is not too much different to yours, but I've got Kirk Capewell in one position in the back row, one spot, and I've got Hamoli Olakawatu in the other. Both are very good. My lock is Isaiah Yeo, and the bench, I've got James Tedesco. I thought in a losing team, Tedesco was really good for the Roosters. I thought he gave it a real go. Even when losing, he tried his heart out. They've got TPJ, Tavita Pangai Jr. as the other one. Then I've got Junior Paulo and I've got Nathan Cleary in that jersey 17 off the bench. So, yeah, that's my team of the week there. And that's our teams right there. So let me know or let us know what you think about our teams of the week right there. Now, getting into the topics. So this is where we basically rip into the podcast. Now, going through the topics. So to start off with, well, it's basically an overview by both of us on the week of footy that we had. So, Sam, your thoughts on both games you saw in the semi-finals? Did you think both games were pretty enjoyable to watch, and how was the quality of it all, do you think?
I said before Manly East that I was a bit concerned that these two clubs are sort of the worst completing rated teams in the competition. And for Eastern Suburbs, mate, their engine just went bang on Friday night, and Manly took full advantage of it. And in all honesty, the game was all over and done with after the first 10 minutes. Honestly, it was. And for Penrith and Parramatta, look, I said the other night on the late night show that it was probably game of the year. Maybe I'll retract from that statement, but I mean, it's certainly within the top five. It was the intensity was there from the very first second to the very last second. And I will get into the controversy about Penrith and Parramatta, but Penrith deserved the win.
Yeah, agreed, actually. Obviously, my boys versus the Roosters, I thought it was a fantastic game. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit biased there, but, it's my team winning by 42 points to 6. It's a great win compared to what we were like last week. It's a major turnaround, isn't it? And, I thought everyone played really well, and I was happy with how the boys went on Friday, and I was, it's definitely a big performance, and hopefully we can keep going this Friday against South Sydney. That was a great game. Everyone really stood up. And with the Panthers and Parramatta game, I thought, that was one of the game of the year. I think that's the game of the year, in my opinion. I know there's a couple of games like Roosters Titans back in round 16 or 15 or something. That was in the Gold Coast. There was a couple of great games this year, but I feel like the Panthers and Eels one that happened in the semi-finals was the best one, in my opinion. I thought that was game of the year. That just the intensity, like you said, Sam, the intensity was huge. It was just a very physical game, and it was good to watch. And that's finals footy for you right there. So no, that was a fantastic game. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's our pretty much overview on the week of footy we saw. Getting to the second topic now, and like we're about to address right now. Now, this has been talked about all week. All week, this has been talked about, if Parramatta were robbed or not. But now I have to ask you, Sam, do you believe the Eels were robbed against the Panthers, in your opinion, on Saturday night? Yes or no?
No, I don't. The media have the microscope on top of Parramatta. I think there's a whole lot of nitpicking going on. I assure you that if North Queensland were in Parramatta's position, not a syllable would be spoken about the Cowboys' chances or loss against Penrith the other night. Parramatta, that's just the way how footy goes, man. You'll cop some rough ones, you cop some, but there was nothing glaringly obvious. Besides maybe just a tap to the shoulder from Jerome Luai or Mitch Moses there. And no, I think Parramatta had plenty of chances. As you and I and Nick talked about the other night, they had plenty of chances to score after repeat sets. And I think Parramatta were just the unlucky team in the end, but I think it will serve them well in the off-season. And I am already anticipating some good things for Parramatta next season.
Yeah, well said, actually. No, I agree with what you said there. Look, I think Parramatta weren't robbed. I can't really see any robbery in there at all, actually. I feel like, because how many chances did the Eels have? I mean, Eels had their chances to execute and possibly get some points and potentially put themselves in the lead. But, with obviously silly errors and knock-ons and all that sort of stuff close to their line, obviously, kind of, what's the word? Kind of, just prevent them from getting the win pretty much. So no, look, it's pretty much their fault for why they lost. I mean, they could have won the game definitely because they only lost by 2 points. But at the end of the day, it's the players that are held accountable for their loss, and obviously, they're going to have to try and work harder to get past the semi-finals next year. Go to the next level. But look, Panthers were good. I think Panthers deserved the win. They were fine Panthers. I thought Nathan Cleary and the rest of the team really stood up, and that's not to say that the Eels didn't stand up either, because they were great. They were fantastic. That was the best I've seen them play in a while. And but Eels weren't robbed. Full stop. I mean, that's all you have to really say. Really, they weren't robbed. And for anyone that says the Parramatta were robbed, well, you're watching a different game, because they weren't. There was no robbery in there. So yeah. Oh well. Anyway, move on now, I guess. Now, the third topic. Now, this is one I definitely disagree with, and this is one I have a bit of a say on. But not sure what you think about it, Sam. But Michael Maguire, there was a report yesterday that he's set to be sacked by the West Tigers very soon, actually, and apparently the next, I don't know when he's going to meet with the Tigers officials, but apparently there's a report soon he'll meet with like the Tigers officials about his fate or something. And there's also been talk that maybe Cameron Serrato will be the next man to replace Michael Maguire if he is sacked. So what do you think about that, Sam? Because I think it's very, very controversial, a bit silly, some of this sort of stuff. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I got to think about who Maguire has actually brought into the club, and we all know that he brought in Joey Leilua and James Roberts into the West Tigers during last year's off-season, and they've done nothing. So his recruitment, Madge Maguire, goes against his name, but for him to potentially face the sack is embarrassing. It's going to be another further embarrassment for the West Tigers. I think Cameron Serraldo is behind Craig Fitzgibbon so far as underground assistant coaches go, if that makes any sense. Cameron Serraldo has had plenty of raps on him, mostly for his defensive work for plenty of years now at Penrith, and I'd love for him to get another crack at first grade, because he was a first grade coach for Penrith a couple of years ago when Anthony Griffin got the hook. Excuse the pun there. Yeah, Madge Maguire though, mate, I think he deserves maybe half the season next year to prove himself. I don't think the answer is to sack him only a couple of weeks after the season finished for him.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think Michael Maguire's not the reason why the Tigers have a bad squad. I feel like it all starts with the Tigers squad and how it's been managed, because obviously when they had Ivan Cleary, there was a lot of players on big contracts, on big money, and didn't really help their case of signing some actual top players. And, I don't think Michael Maguire is the overall problem for the West Tigers. I feel like, for the Tigers, it's really their players that really don't stand up. I think that the way Madge, I feel like, and Josh Reynolds said this on Twitter the other day, actually. I think Josh Reynolds made a tweet about it, saying that he thinks that the way Madge wants the Tigers to play isn't the way that the players want to play themselves. That's basically what Reynolds did tweet the other day, I saw. And I think he's got a fair point in saying that, because I think Madge is a hard-nosed sort of coach who wants to play, some very direct footy and really tough footy. But maybe for some of the players there, they don't accept that. Maybe some of those players have a different way of approaching how they may play, that makes any sense. And yeah, look, I think it's really, really a bad move by the Tigers. I mean, Madge Madge has won premierships before at South Sydney. He's obviously done a lot of good things in his coaching career and time. So yeah, I think it's a very bad move by the club. I mean, they're already going backwards, and it makes them go backwards even more by letting Madge get the sack. I think it's a terrible decision, and I hope he doesn't get sacked, but unfortunately, it looks like it will happen, and I think it's a very silly move. But speaking about who could potentially now replace him if he is sacked, and that's Cameron Serrato. So Cameron Serrato, from what I understand, he coached Italy a couple of years ago, I'm pretty sure, was the assistant coach for them, I think in 2013, 14 or something like that. But he was working there for a while, I'm pretty sure. And and apart from that, he's also coached about 3 or 4 games for the Panthers. Obviously, at the back end of the 2018 season, he stepped in for Anthony Griffin once he got sacked after Gus Gould and him didn't get along. And yeah, I think it's a real risk putting Cameron Serrato in a position to replace Madge, because how many premierships has Serrato won? How many game experience of coaching has he done? Or it's not fair, I think, for him to step in a position where the Tigers are right now, because the Tigers are in a very stale position in terms of where they are as a club. They're in a really dark spot, and I think for a rookie coach to walk into some sort of place like that, it's very, very risky, and it's going to be a long year for Tigers, I feel like, in 2022, if that's the case, if he does step in and is a new coach. I feel like even though I don't want to see Madge leave and get sacked, but if there was a coach I'd personally replace him with, it's more of an older coach who's had more experience. Like maybe, I don't know, like who's out there? I mean, maybe like a Jeff Tuvey, like some sort of coach like a Tuvey maybe that could work for that club. But like as you know, I think just bringing in a rookie coach, especially to replace Madge after the state the Tigers are left in, it's very risky, and I think like that's a real backwards move for clubs. So, yeah, not good for the Tigers. Unfortunately, the all
Proenzo, man.
situation. Yeah,
Proenzo, man. So ex-coach Tim Sheens is going to be coming to the club within the next 2 months, I assume. He was meant to be there in July, August, but in any event, Tim Sheens will be there shortly, and I'd love to see Michael Maguire stay there and sort of work with Tim Sheens for the next 8 months or so. And with the signing of Jackson Hastings, maybe if Hastings came in, did his thing, and Madge Maguire has potential to look at Hastings, point at him, and say, "Oi, boys, this is how I wanted you all to play all along." Maybe I'd love to see Madge Maguire actually coach Hastings, and maybe Hastings can impress upon the boys that this is actually, I believe in the game plan under Madge Maguire. But it's just that I think it would be the wrong call to move him on and have a rookie coach like Cameron Ciraldo come into the fire that is the West Tigers at the moment.
Yeah, for sure, Sam. I think, yeah, I mean, I like to see Madge Maguire work with Tim Sheens because I feel like the reason why Tim Sheens come back to the Tigers pretty much is because to work with Madge and help him. And also, I guess, in saying that, to obviously, work with the Tigers and, just improve how they perform and how they go about business and all that sort of stuff revolving around the club. And, yeah, I think with Jackson Hastings, like you mentioned, Sam, I think, I'm just thinking, like, since Madge Maguire was the guy who signed Jackson Hastings to the club, I mean, would have put Jackson Hastings off right now if Madge was the guy to actually get the sack. And obviously, when Hastings, and when Hastings joins the club, like, will he actually, how would he feel if there's, Madge isn't there and he got sacked and he has to work with someone else? Like, would Hastings like that? That's my question. I mean, it could really put him off possibly.
All these players want to play their own style, and I assume that it's the style that Tim Sheens coached with Benji Marshall and Robbie Farah. Well, West Tigers got rid of Benji Marshall, said we're going to prefer Luke Brooks over to you, and Benji Marshall's playing in a preliminary final this weekend. And Madge Maguire, it's in the fabric of the West Tigers, I feel. From the outside looking in, that it's a club that want to remain an attacking-minded side, but they've now lost that right to want to play and think like that. The club definitely needs a revolution. Madge Maguire's tried for a few years now, but these players just don't want to get into this hard-edged defensive mindset, and it's going to be the detriment of Madge Maguire, unfortunately. He's going to be the scapegoat.
Yeah, which isn't fair, is it? So, yeah, I think it's definitely the players' accountability to, for them why they're really struggling. So, anyway, I wonder how the Tigers will get out of this. It's going to be very interesting, a very interesting sort of summer for the Tigers, how they go about business and how things kind of, happen across the off-season. It's going to be very interesting. But getting on to the fourth topic now. So, this topic basically happened very recently. It's a very, 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 I guess, bad thing to talk about. It's a very, controversial thing to talk about. It's very stupid. I mean, we get this pretty much every off season, do we? We get this sort of drama in every off season with people or players apparently punching someone else or assaulting them or something. It's just disgusting. So Anthony Milford is at the center of it, unfortunately, and apparently he's been charged with 3 counts of assault. So, and actually it says here domestic violence as well. So he's been charged maybe with assaulting his partner possibly, or, just, 3 counts of assault pretty much. And they got arrested at 2 a.m. in the morning apparently. And I don't know if he's got bail or not, but seriously though, apart from that, it's very bad, is it? So what do you think about it? What do you think? If you're a South Sydney fan, do you think they'd be happy to get him now? Like after all this, probably not.
This is fresh off the press. This is the news of the day in the NRL. Last night, 2 a.m., he was out in Fortitude Valley, and 3 gentlemen or 3 people intervened, and whilst he was allegedly in a domestic with his wife, and I'll take the point from another YouTuber called Always Brisbane Broncos, because he said that Anthony Milford must have been really pissed off to do that sort of violence to another, let alone his wife. Now, if you're South Sydney, you're definitely sitting back, and you're saying, "Bugger me, Dad, what's going on here?" And it's out of character for Anthony Milford. I'll say that to him. But all of this is alleged, as so far as the beating of his wife goes. That's allegedly at the moment. But yeah, I don't know how much. Do you know? I don't. How much South signed Anthony Milford for, man?
Well, mate, I think it was just for a year. I think it was a cut price sort of contract for a year because obviously, I guess Jason Dimitri, who's the coach next year, obviously wants to kind of, see how he goes for a year at the club and see if he can change his fortunes there, I think. But, yeah, it doesn't help his cause, does it? Because, he's only signed there for a year, so it doesn't really help his case, does it? So, yeah, not good. Not good at all.
Who's the young man that debuted for South Sydney in the last round? It was Lachlan Ilias.
Yeah.
So that probably already puts him on the front foot, way ahead of Anthony Milford already, and expect to see the Milf playing some reserve grade footy next year.
Yeah, potentially, yeah. And I think at this rate, personally, I'd rather keep Benji Marshall for another year than have Anthony Milford at the moment, really, because I think clearly Benji's a better human being than Milford if Milford's guilty for what he's done. And obviously, Benji's been doing a great job this year for South, so maybe, just keep him that utility role pretty much. And yeah, maybe Milford has to try and might have to try and find his way out of the South reserve grade team next year. You never know. So yeah, it's not good.
But Proenzo, man, fancy that. The season for Broncos only finished 2 or 3 weeks ago. The NRL season's still going on, and we've already got 2 off-field issues, all involving the Brisbane Broncos. Players this off-season, I mean, it's you got to pull your fingers out, mate. Australians all across the land, mate. We're trying to do the right thing under these strict lockdowns, and you've got Anthony Milford out on a Sunday night, Monday morning at 2:00 in the morning, going against his missus. I mean, Kevy Walters wanted change, and he's trying to implement a culture change. Well, at the moment, it's kind of fallen on deaf ears because, their season finished a couple of weeks ago, and we've already had 2 incidents. Mind you, that wrestling between Flegler and Ricky was minor in the end. But, man, these players during the off-season, what else is going to happen? Because undoubtedly, something else is going to happen this off-season, Proenzo.
Yeah, I mean, I can guarantee that for you as well. I think there's about at least 10 to 12 off-season incidents per year, I think.
Oh,
man,
yeah.
We've seen it before. It's shocking, and there needs to be a change because I think a long time ago, actually, I don't know how long ago I made it, but it was back early in the year, I think. I made a video about a bit of a rant, actually, about how players need to learn from and just remain, because you're a sporting player at the end of the day. You're a professional rugby league player, and obviously there's kids that look up to you, and obviously maybe you're idle, and then they see you apparently abusing someone or actually in trouble for something that's against their integrity unit. It's obviously going to really disappoint many people. So people go NRL players, they're going to be held accountable for what they do and their actions, because at the end of the day, they're fairly famous, and it could just really put off a lot of people to see them do something wrong, pretty much. So yeah, it's not good. So yeah. Anyway, hopefully there's at least below 10 off-field incidents this year in the off season. Hopefully, but I doubt it. But I guess now we're 24 minutes in the podcast, so I've got 6 minutes to go, basically, to end off the show now. Now, before I get into it, this is just a joke only. It's not really like a real threatening sort of thing to someone. It's more a thing where, you disagree with someone's rugby league comment, or a comment that someone made about a rugby league team or player, or some comment you saw a bit daft on YouTube or wherever, and you want to, I guess, call it out sort of and have a say about it. But yeah, so this is the biggest nubbly of the week. Biggest nubbly of the week is basically what I just explained then. Someone that's made a controversial comment or about a player or someone, or someone that, obviously maybe giving you a bit of hate and you want to call it out. So, Sam, mate, do you have a nugget of the week?
There was a strange old comment that someone left on a previous video of mine, and it was in reference to my tip against Manly and Melbourne in week 1, and this person just left the scoreboard on top as if he predicted it, but it was already 24 hours removed from the match, and it's like, I know, bro, you don't need to comment on my channel about the scoreboard, bro. But the biggest numpty for the week, mate, I know I put him in my team of the week, but Blake Ferguson, mate, for that staging incident, I think he takes the numpty of the week by far, man.
Yeah, and going with what the comment you received on your tipping video. I mean, there's so many of those people, because I've got it before actually. I mean, I think basically, I think one time in one of my tipping videos, I said maybe last year, predict the score for this particular game, and someone commented about a day after the game finished the correct scoreline, but the game's already finished. Yeah, too many of those people, but I guess it's just a joke. I mean, it's not that bad, I guess, at the end of the day. But I'm getting to my nugget of the week, so I feel like some people might have a bit of a suspicion of what it already is. It's actually Ryan Girdler, and he's commented about Manly being flat track bullies. So,
oh no.
Look, I think it's a bit silly how he's made those sort of comments. Now, I don't really hate Ryan Girdler. I think Ryan Girdler's always been pretty good on Triple M and that sort of station. I think he's always very good with what he reports and what he says on that sort of thing. But I do tend to disagree with him very strongly about what he said about Manly being flat track bullies and how they can't be big teams, because here's the thing: Manly haven't really played Souths, Penrith twice, and teams like that, like early in the year. So I think we haven't really played those sort of teams for a while, and if we play them now, I think we'll be a good chance to beat those sort of teams, like those teams like Penrith and South, etc. And look, I mean, if he's going to go back to early in the season and really kind of go off that, I mean, that's pretty. It says a lot about him, pretty much, if he's going to go back to the end, back to the start of the year and compare from then, because there's no point comparing from then to now. So they're very stupid of him to say that. But I mean, but he's a very brave person to say that, because he actually owns a coffee shop or a cafe in the Northern Beaches, and he's very brave to make a comment about that. So I expect some visitors who are Manly fans to kind of give it to him, I think, about those comments. So
wow,
it's not. And it's not going to look good if Manly do end up being South or something like that. If it does happen, it's going to look pretty embarrassing on his name. So we'll see what happens. But that's my nugget of the week right there. But guys, thanks for watching the Ankle Breaker podcast. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure you do like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and do the exact same for Sam Revill as well. He's how many subs do you have at the moment, Sam?
166, man.
166. So hopefully, maybe by, I'd say roughly late October to early November, he can get 200 subscribers. Maybe just keep subscribing to him and check out his content as well, because I think he does some great content. So honestly, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next podcast episode. So thanks guys for watching. See you later.
Adios, guys.